Well, everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and welcome to the Wasteland, my weekly show where I take a deep dive into a particular film, and we're into the talkies at 1930 and a star-studded edition of a John Ford film here. But I have my buddy Adam joining me for this particular episode. Adam, thank you so much for coming on.
No worries, Shane. Always a pleasure.
And for all of you who haven't tuned in to Welcome to the Wasteland before, we have three segments. We have coming attractions for the week of Friday, October 13th. And the scariest thing is the future for movie production studios when Taylor Swift changes everything. And then we have our features Up the River. And then we have some recommendations for you. But yeah, so basically, Taylor Swift's going to absolutely steamroll everything coming out this weekend at the box
I think
office.
so.
It already broke Infinity War and Endgame's pre-ticket sales
Is that right?
at AMC app, which that app crashed and they had to put a wait list on the app the day that the tickets came out. It's just like, I think I saw
Wow.
Robert post he just wanted to buy his Equalizer 3 tickets and he couldn't get on the app. And it's just like, wow. So, yeah,
Yeah.
besides that, there are other movies out that weekend. But here's a really interesting one. Adam, which one are you most interested in checking out?
Shane, you're going to kill me. I can't remember the name of it.
Once within time, with once
Once,
within a time.
once within a time. And the reason I is because it just sounds fascinating. Just the pedigree behind it. Steven Soderbergh producing and Philip Glass doing the score, and Mike Tyson as the lead star. I don't know whether he's narrating or acting or what, but watching the trailer for it, I just looked at that and go, I need to see this. It looks insane.
It looks like a bonkers 52 minutes that we both will probably be spending our 52 minutes watching at some point.
Yeah, yeah, it looks fascinating.
And my pick is something completely different because this one's 2 hours and 30 minutes. This is the Palme d'Or winning drama Anatomy of a Fall. And this film looks fascinating. It looks intense. It's
Yeah,
about a woman who's being suspected of murdering her husband when he dies mysteriously from falling out of their upstairs window. And it's
like a
out.
Russian doctor.
Yep, it's out in the snow and everything. It looks creepy and stark, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah, look, obviously that's a close second for me to choose as well. But that
Mm.
plot just sounds like a Russian doctor through COVID. I don't know if you heard about those the stories, but anyway,
Oh my
uh,
god! But
apparently a lot of Russian doctors were just falling to their death from their buildings, apparently because they wouldn't report COVID deaths or something. Yeah, mysteriously committing suicide.
interesting. Did
Mm.
this husband commit suicide? Did he just happen to fall out the window? Was there foul play? We'll find out
Mm.
in a brisk hour and 150 minutes.
Yeah,
So there you go. Um,
yeah,
Especially after some of the Palme d'Or winners lately, they sure pick some interesting ones, like
they do.
Titan.
Titan, oh my God, that film, that kind of hurt my feelings, that film, for having to watch it. I mean, I appreciated it, but oh my God, I do not ever want to see it again. But Triangle
I,
of Sadness, I love that. I love Triangle of Sadness. That's
oh yeah, I
fantastic.
forgot that one last year. Oh my god,
Mm.
Vomit Comet, the ship. They sure picked some interesting ones. So
Mm.
this one doesn't look wild like those two. This just looks like it's a really intense, like true. It looks like it's a sleazy Netflix true crime documentary turned into like a classy European thriller.
Yeah.
So
I've the only stuff I know about is really the reviews and the ratings I've seen on Letterboxd, and I don't know, I've heard words, so it's like something always going to want to watch the Palme d'Or winner, regardless. So if it ever comes to Australia, I'll check it out.
but yeah, all hail T Swift. Happy Friday the 13th. And we're on to our feature of the week. So those were the coming attractions. So we have Up the River, which is a 1930 John Ford film. It is indeed a talkie. Some details here. This is the feature debuts of Spencer Tracy and Humphrey Bogart. So they had never starred in a feature length film before this, either of them. It's a film about convicts, just a crew of convicts living their best lives in like Jordan Belfort, like white collar type prison, because
Yeah.
like they
Yeah.
basically could do whatever the hell they want.
Mm.
This was remade in 1938. So see, they even made obnoxiously early
Wow.
remakes back then too. Um,
Wow.
this was the only Ford Bogart collaboration, but it was the first of two collaborations with Spencer Tracy. And yeah, it has baseball in it a little bit, among other things.
Doesn't I
It's
might have
like,
forgotten about that. I might.
yeah, I kept seeing like, oh, this is a baseball movie. I'm like, they didn't play any goddamn baseball in the whole entire movie. Basically, the very end of the movie, they set up a baseball game, but do we get to watch it? No. So, but as a baseball fan, I'm like, I'm disappointed. But Adam, what are your general
Rightly
thoughts
so.
on
My general,
the river?
it's not that great. Is my general thought. Um, Look, it's okay. This I really found it hard for it to maintain my attention. I don't know whether that's because I've got a short attention span as I get older or not, but I just really failed to grab me. Um, it wasn't bad. It was interesting to see Humphrey Bogart that early on. And if Foster, you're watching this, you know he likes to tease me about my love-hate relationship with Humphrey Bogart because I still think he, by and large, is not a great actor. But he has did put in some good performances. The more I watch of him, the more I enjoy him. And I actually thought he was really good in this. Honestly, I really did think he was pretty good and charming and young and actually a handsome man. Like he didn't age too well, Humphrey. He was actually quite a handsome man in this movie, I thought. But um, I appreciated watching him because as much as I don't like him as an actor, I'm still fascinated by watching him. So yeah, I mean that's general thoughts. There were also, if you go into the technical side of it, there was some really bad editing. Like you can see the cuts as, I mean the cuts were they were cut with a blunt butter knife. I think some of the film because you could just see really bad takes and then just a switch in. It's really bad. Some of it.
Yeah, this wasn't his strongest film from a technical standpoint. Like some of his
No,
films have blown me away up to this point from like a technical standpoint. I'm like, see, there's the John Ford. Like the stories will catch up at some point, but like this wasn't one of them. This was such a
no.
messy narrative. Like trying to keep
Yes,
track
yeah.
of what was this movie even about?
I didn't know what was going on. That's probably why I was disinterested because it was jumping around. I didn't know who was what. There was a basic through line, but it just seemed like this series of vignettes that tried to make sense, that tried to have this through line, but they just didn't gel together. It
Yeah.
just the acts did not gel together and support each other. It was bizarre.
No,
Especially someone
and
who had been making films for so long at that point. It was weird.
mhm.
Maybe he was just drunk the entire time. Who knows?
Well, and up to this
Yeah.
point, a lot of his films were not feature films.
Mm.
Like this is still a time where they're pushing most like getting most films up to like an hour and a half and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
obviously, you already have films like Metropolis existed already. Like what D.W. Griffiths and all of his like Intolerance and Birth of a Nation, like there was like legit feature films up to this point, but like it's
Mm.
still, and I think this is still early enough in the talkie era. Like there's definitely some growing pains. It seems like with John Ford and switching to talkies, I think.
Yeah.
And some of the things that really stood out. So I think Spencer Tracy had a fun introduction. Like you like right off the bat, you know he's like the king in town. Like
Yeah.
everybody loves him. Um I thought a particular moment where the older prisoners were talking about how soft the men are these days. And I'm just like, every goddamn
Yes, they were
generation.
too. Yes, it's so true.
Yeah,
That's so true. Yeah.
it's one of those kinds of things where it's like that stood out to me. Also, I'd like to return to my new a segment on this show, Ward Bond sightings. So when I watched the film before this, that I did an episode with Rowan on, Born Reckless, Ward Bond of Searchers fame just randomly popped up as like a sergeant, and then he randomly popped up in this too. So I'm gonna take count of how many like
He's
random tiny roles Ward Bond has in John Ford movies.
he's just here on my IMDb. His credit is inmate socked by St. Louis.
Yeah,
That's his credit.
yeah. And so like I'm that's two Ward Bond sightings so far on Welcome to the Wasteland.
Talk about.
Um, there's they do a lot of like physical humor in this film and silly stuff. I do want to give a special shout out to Warren Heimer, who I feel like is the real MVP of this film. He's like the tall, lanky, goofy inmate who seems like he's such an idiot, and how he
Ah, yes.
interacts with everything I thought was legitimately funny. Um, Bogart and Luce, I felt like I could feel their charm with each other.
Yeah.
It's supposed
Actually,
to be,
that worked for me.
yeah, this rom
That
com
was one of the things that
element.
worked for me.
It was very interesting how they treated the men versus the women in this prison. Like those were some of the things that stood out to me, where it's just like their whole, like the whole entire dynamic on both sides of this prison were completely different.
What blew me away, especially at the very start, and I was waiting for some type of resolution, but the men are just wandering around the yard, Shawshank Redemption style.
Yeah,
But then this group of old women and little girls, like children, are walking around in the yard with these prisoners. It's like, what the hell is?
I had a
How is
note
that a
of
thing?
smart little girl outsmarts both Heimer and Spencer Tracy's characters, and you're just like that's how quirky and like this has such a weird tone to it. Like this is a
Yeah.
prison movie, and nothing is
These,
taken seriously at all.
no, no. Like these prisoners, they seem like they're there voluntarily. That's how lucid he's in there. Like,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I do think there was some pacing issues because
Oh,
there's
yeah.
the whole bunk bed sequence. They had a joke there, and then they played the joke 10 times and just kept going and going and
Yeah.
going. Like, when's this scene gonna be over? And
I felt I felt that about he's in the middle or near the end. He's jammed in this vaudeville plot device act, like this,
oh,
and with blackface, by the way.
I'll get there, Adam.
We'll get there. Okay.
I'm almost there.
Okay.
Random wedding. I'm like, people can
Yeah.
leave and get married. And like, I was so confused by the rules of this
Yeah. Oh,
prison.
yeah. Yeah.
It made no sense. And yes,
Movie makes.
they had the not only did they have blackface, but then they were speaking like black people, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
And very deliberately showing black people in the audience loving the entire thing.
yes, cutting to the one black person, just be like, yeah.
Yeah,
The
loving it.
whole
Yep.
time, I'm like, one,
100 years
why was
later.
this relevant to the movie?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was
None
there
of
to
it.
fill
No.
time, and it's a talkie, and they're trying to show off.
I wonder if someone just given him money and said, make something that's 90 minutes long and just and he's just jammed shit in there. He's got no idea. We need it
That's what
made
it
by
felt
this way
like.
because that's the way the studios worked back then. We need it made and we need it to be released in 6 weeks' time. Blah 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 blah. And so he just added shit. Let's just film something random. Pretend
Yeah,
it's a
so
story.
there's some fun elements. There's some extremely problematic ones, like that one. Where it's like, here's the
Yeah.
thing, that had nothing to do with the rest of the movie. Didn't have to be there. But what? Not only did it happen to have blackface in it, but it went out of its way to try to be like black people like it. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
it's like, what is
Yep.
this?
Oh
So,
mate.
like, even before you get to that point, you're just like, what the hell is this movie about? What's going on here? And then you just get there. I'm
Oh
just like,
man.
I'm done.
I'm so glad you think the same because I thought there was something wrong with me watching it. I'm like, am I missing? What am I missing? Like, I didn't. I'm thinking I'm going to go into this video with you and not know what the hell I was talking about, but you're saying the same things I think. So
Well,
it's yeah.
and then you finally get to the baseball game at the end, and then they don't even show any of it because it ends before they start throwing out the first pitch. And I'm like,
They missed the money shot. Look.
Like the two smirking at the camera and like they don't even throw a pitch. I'm just like they did have to throw in that also there's drag in that show too, and I'm just like
Yeah.
this movie's wild. Like just
That
like
whole stage stuff had nothing to do with
nothing,
anything. It was just
nothing to
this.
do with
This is
it.
what cinema goers are like at the time. Let's just put this in
Well,
there. They'll love it.
actually, you know what,
Yeah.
Adam? I'm starting a new segment for these John Ford films. We have the Ward Bond sighting and then random singing sequences to show off we can do a talkie. Because
Yeah.
that has been in every single talkie that he's done so far.
Is
So
that right?
why
Oh,
are they
wow.
singing? Because they can. We want to show off.
Yep. Yep.
This one, though, wins the award for most distasteful completely frivolous singing sequence in a movie in these so far. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Bananas.
no, it was a mess.
Yep. It was a real mess. A real mess.
Well, I don't know
Oh
if I'd
dear.
recommend this one, people, but
Nah.
it exists and it does have Spencer Tracy and Humphrey Bogart in it. So if you like them, you at least get them in it.
It's also the only film they were ever in together as well.
And that's so crazy that you had such big star power so early on in just this random John Ford film that like has no discernible narrative structure or anything. It's just like, yep, John Ford's like, well, we
Yeah.
need to make a movie. Throw it together.
Yeah.
And then they
I
did.
reckon John Ford got paid in scotch. Honestly, legit, he got paid in bourbon or something for this film. Don't know what
He's like, I
is
have four
going
other
on.
movies coming out this year. I can make this schlock.
He,
So
sorry, my cat just got trapped. Sorry.
all good. Well, on the things we actually want to recommend to you. So what would you like to recommend, Adam?
Look, I know we spoke pre-show, and I found. Can I recommend two things?
Go ahead.
The first one is going to be a Netflix series called "I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson." If you're watching this video, you'll know the memes. If you haven't seen the show, you'll absolutely know the memes because they're everywhere.
Sure
The
about
show
that.
is the show is incredibly funny. It's something you can watch over and over and just get different laughs out of it. And it's a breezy watch. Each episodes are 15 to 17 minutes long. You can watch an entire season in an hour and a half. There's three seasons. You can probably watch them all on a lazy afternoon, honestly, and you will laugh a lot. They're just so good. The guy actually used to be a writer on Saturday Night Live, Tim Robbins, and it's actually produced by Sandberg and Akiva Schaffer, and like it's got the Lonely Island,
Nice.
Lonely Island. Is that what they called Lonely Island?
Yeah.
Yes, Lonely Planet. I don't know what the
I'm
hell I'm
on a
talking about.
boat.
Yeah, but they produce it, so it is hysterically fun. Like it's just, and it also has like a lot of sneaky guest stars in there as well from time to time. Um, but you see Stephen Wen, Ewan pop up, and just other names you'll see,
Nice.
and other comedy actors. My second recommendation is a film I saw. It's on Mubi here in Australia, but it was marketed to me by Mubi as a film that predated Scream, because it's a meta horror, slasher horror, and I've given it 3.5. It's called There's Nothing Out There. It's from 1991. It is. I've never seen a film so past its time, but also so far ahead of its time
Hmm.
in the same thing. It's not good, but it's also awesome. Like it's just weird. It's basically these kids. There are three couples and a seventh wheel, I would say. He's the nerd. He's like the Jamie Kennedy character from Scream. So he knows horror movies and he sees
Uh,
this stuff and he calls it out like, "Don't you see? This is we're all going to die later because all these things are here." And we got like he calls it all out like a cabin in the woods movie.
mhm.
And then they get there and there's these practical effects that are so bad. The acting is some of the worst acting you'll ever see. But I swear to Christ, you'll have a good time watching this movie. It is so
What's this
bad.
called?
It's called There's Nothing Out There from 1991. And there's a scene at the end. And what got me to actually, because I was watching this going, this is so terrible. It's so bad. And then there's a scene at the end that really tells you what the whole conceit, the joke of this movie is. Because to escape this monster's like this green froggy monster that shoots green lasers from its eyes into the female's eyes
I'm looking at the
to con-
poster
to
right
control
now.
them. It actually controls them. But look, the practical effects are bad. But at the end, this scene, the one kid to escape this frog, he actually grabs on to the microphone, the boom of the bloody, like the boom mic, and swings out. So that's the whole that there in the last 15 minutes gives you the entire joke of the film, and it's worth watching because this film is. I think everything about it is deliberate. Everything about it is deliberate. Um, but when you're watching, you're going to go, "This is absolutely terrible." But if you watch it like it's deliberately made like this, you're going to love it. Like I had quite a few moments where just huge laughs in it, and whether it was supposed to be a laugh or not, but either way, I laughed at it a lot and big laughs. So I've never seen a movie I hate but love so much at the same time. It's incredible. I don't know where you'll find it in America, but in Australia, it's on Mubi at the moment. You probably get it on YouTube for free. Honestly, I don't know.
Interesting. I'm gonna see. I just put on Mubi and like the first thing that popped up is Passages and then Rotting in the Sun. A
Yeah,
lot
you
of
guys get lots of good stuff over there. Movie here in Australia has this starting to go too mainstream. Like they're actually getting mainstream movies on there, which is not the point of movie.
no, not at all. Yeah, I was talking about streaming services in my class and nobody knew what Mubi was. I'm just
Oh
like,
wow.
it is for true cinephiles.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
my one recommendation, because I just recorded an episode 2 days ago and haven't watched anything but new movies. Definitely not Exorcist Believer. What a bad movie that was,
Oh, good.
unfortunately.
Thank you. Thank you for saving me the time.
It was
I
not
won't
good.
watch it.
I had such high hopes. It was not good. But one horror film that is coming out this weekend and like this previous weekend as we're recording is Totally Killer. And
Ooh.
that is basically a slasher comedy meets Back to the Future. So
Ooh.
Kiernan Shipka
Oh,
ends up
yes.
going back in time to try to like stop a serial killer from killing her mom's friends in the past.
Wicked.
It's a
Awesome.
fun time. It's obviously a bit derivative of Back to the Future, but like it's such a fun time I had with it. So if you want a good fun
Brilliant.
time this weekend and you have access to it on Amazon Prime, give it a watch. It's
I
certainly
will
worth
watch that. Yeah, that's where I saw it. Yeah, okay, it's on. I'll definitely. I'm happy with that recommend too.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I'll
took a
definitely
day
check
off
that out.
this week to catch up on screening links. Watched like five of them,
Oh, okay.
and that
Mate,
that was that was my favorite one that I watched. So
I've taken days off work before just to catch up on movies too. That's great.
oh, my thing that I do every year for my birthday is I take a day off and just wake up at 5 o'clock when I usually do and just watch movies until I go to sleep.
That's awesome.
And they're all my favorites. I'm watching John Wick Chapter 4 this year because I want to give that a rewatch on my brand new 4K Steelbook that I bought. So
Yeah, nice.
that's my
Cool.
favorite purchase so far this year, physical media wise. I haven't bought that much this year, but like that definitely
Mm,
takes the ticket. But
don't talk to me.
that's a wrap on another episode of Welcome to the Wasteland. Adam, thank you so much for coming on and watching, and first for watching and then talking about Up the River.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Hopefully the next one's a better one. We'll have to organize that.
Yep, we'll do that after we're done recording. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.